Welcome everyone to the online club event funding info session presented by Lehman College CCD. So for today's agenda, we're going to go over a few things. What is a budget request form? The process of submitting a budget proposal, applying for the purchase order form, the 2020 fall budget request form, the $300 in startup funds, and then a small Q&A. So what is a budget request form? So it allows you to request funds for your club's events. Every year we're given a certain amount of money, and then this for clubs to have their events and to fund their events. And the CCD allocates these funds to all clubs. This allows all the clubs to have their events covered fairly. If this system wasn't in place, then everyone could just like put in crazy amounts of money for whatever they want for an event, or like have so much going on for one event, and then all the other clubs by all the other events by all the other clubs will not be given the same opportunities. This is not a purchase order form, which we'll go over later. This is just the budget request form, so just asking for the funds for that event. So the budget form, it's accessed on the Campus Labs website under Forms. So you would go to Lehman Campus Labs website, the same one where you see events and everything. You press Manage and you would go to Forms. And then once every week to 2 weeks, the CCD reviews and either approves or rejects the form. And if it's rejected, then one of the members will email you and ask you for more, just to explain why it was rejected, and then you'll get a chance to resubmit it. So applying for the purchase order form, so this is something else. So after you do the first step of getting your event approved for whatever you have, then the purchase order form, one moment. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, so unlike the budget proposal form, the purchase order form is used to basically buy things through the school. So you, instead of, like, there's two ways of doing it. You could either buy things and then get reimbursed through the school, which is not recommended because it's not completely guaranteed that you get those funds reimbursed. So the sure way to make sure you're purchasing things through the school that you can purchase is by applying for the purchase order form after you have after your first form was approved by CCD. So this is a whole entire different one. If you have an event coming up, definitely, and you've had your, if you had funding from the CCD allocated to your club event, definitely apply for the purchase order form so that you can have that stuff there for when your event starts. Okay, so this is the 2020 fall budget request form. So we're just gonna like quickly go through what it looks like and how you can fill it out. So the first thing is the event program name. So what is the name of your event? Is it a holiday party? Is it a seminar? You would put that there, put the name of it. And then under event/program description, you're going to just describe your event and how it will be helpful to the Lehman community. And depending on, like, and just put as much detail as you can, not just in what the event is, like, yeah. Next is the number of expected participants/attendees. Now it's a bit different with everything virtual, but based on like your club meetings and your previous club events, and if you've had a virtual event so far, you can kind of garner how many people will you do expect to So just put that in. And then next you're going to put your event priority. So because there's with this, because there's like limited funds available for student clubs, you just rate the priority of each event. Like high priority, you definitely need funds for this event. Like this, I definitely need funds for this one because it's so important. And then to low. Then you put your club's name, the student that will be representing the club, the student's phone number, that student's email, and then if you're collaborating with another club, you would put their club name there. Now for this one, you're just going to put the student outcomes. So what would students develop from this event or program? So basically, how will this affect the student afterwards? Okay, next we get to expenses. This is where you're going to begin asking for funds for your event. So film rights. So let's say you are screening a movie or you want to display some kind of film or movie, then you would put that fee there because getting a license to show a film, there's a fee per person who's going to be there. So here you would just like put how much you would need to secure that license. As for printing, postage or stationery, that's for advertisement, like putting out the word. You would put that there. Now that everything's virtual, it may be a little bit different. You can always just, it may just be virtual advertising, but it's a bit different with now and how everything is. So you may not need to have printing, postage, or stationery. If for any of these things you don't need funds, you would just put 0 instead of like an amount. But yeah. And then for contractual services, so instructional services, artists, performers, photographer, videographers, and professional services. So let's say you have like you're having a virtual party and you need a virtual DJ that you need funding for, or you are having guest speakers come or professional speakers come and talk about there's whatever they need to talk about on there, and you want to like fund that. Any of these things, you would put that in contractual services. Now for supplies, that would be like office supplies, art supplies, decorations, or toys. So there for one club that we have so far, there's a graphic novel club going on. So let's say what they're doing is they're sending book like graphic novels to their members, and for each event, so they're reading the novel and discussing it with members. And it could be the same thing with the book club. And there's also a crochet event that they're having crochet needles and yarn being sent to their homes, so that although it's virtual, everyone's still participating and they're still having an engaging event. Okay. Refreshments, let me see. That right now is still being discussed, so not much can be said on that part right now. So now for the event history, you basically explain if your club has organized this event in a previous semester. So even though it was in person and now it's virtual, you can still put that in, that, hey, we've done this before and this many people came and this is how successful it was, because that still would be considered in the overall thing. Virtual, like in person or virtual, it still adds to the campus experience. And it now more than ever, we need this like unity on campus, even if it's online. So that's it for this. But what I would say is when it comes to expenses, if you're asking for money for anything, please add in the description, event/program description, like how that funding will be used, just so it clarifies some things, especially if you're not able to meet and make it to CCD meetings. So a few weeks ago, almost a month ago, $300 in startup funds were allocated to the first 30 clubs. So all clubs right now are covered for the $300 startup funds. So this is funds that are free to use without the CCD approval. You would have to still go through the budget forms, and it's basically a reimbursement for anything you spend out of pocket for events before being funded. But you would still need to complete the purchase order form. Okay, so now it's a quick Q&A. So if anyone just feels like there's anything that needs to be said that wasn't covered in this presentation.
I would just reiterate to be detailed in your request for funding once you get approved for funding when you go in to apply, because I mean it asks you detailed questions about what it is you're purchasing with the money or what services is are being provided, but just try to give information so that they understand, and use notes, use email to let them know, and just be clear. Try to make sure that they can clearly understand what it is that you're doing or trying to do. So this way you won't get a denial, or that's all.
All right, so regardless of it being virtual or not, the CCD, we're here to help you through the entire process. Like, feel free to email any of us.
Yes.
Yeah. Anytime we have a meeting, it will be posted on the campus lab's website under events. You'll see CCD meetings. Feel free to drop by and ask questions and get help. Like, we are here for you.
Absolutely.
So I think that's about it. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.
Bye bye.